If you've always struggled with losing weight only to gain it back, the first thing I want you to know is you are far from alone. Honestly, the deck is stacked against you when it comes to losing weight and keeping it off, both for psychological and physiological reasons. The truth is, it's hard. It's really hard, and this is because the body fights against you, so much so that it's kind of unfair. However, we can't change reality, so it's important to accept this and figure out what you need to do to finally lose the weight for good, which is exactly what we're going to cover today. Hey, this is Colin DeWaay. If you want to master your metabolism and create forever results, start now by subscribing and click on that bell notification so you don't miss anything. Okay, before I get into the many mental reasons why you always gain the weight back, and make no mistake, this is a huge part of the problem, I think it's important you understand what you're up against because the body is gonna fight you hard physiologically, and this is because the body has a self-defense mechanism against starvation. Remember, your body doesn't care what you look like. It doesn't care if you have six-pack abs, doesn't care what you look like in a bathing suit. It cares about one thing: survival. Because of this, when you lose weight, there's a whole host of changes that happen in the body that make it more efficient at burning fewer calories to better hold on to what you give it. You start burning less calories through exercise, through the thermic effect of food, through the BMR and all your daily movements. And while some of this is because you do lose weight and therefore have less energy demand, research has shown the decrease in your metabolism, especially when taking extreme measures, can be much more than would be predicted by the weight lost. There are negative alterations to hormones like thyroid, testosterone, and cortisol, as well as hunger hormones like ghrelin and leptin. Ghrelin is responsible for telling you when the body's hungry. As you lower calories and lose weight, this hormone becomes elevated. Leptin is responsible for telling you when you feel full, as well as many other functions, and this decreases as you diet, and leptin has even been shown to stay low even after gaining weight back. So if you have one hormone telling you you're always hungry, and another one telling you that you never feel full when you do eat, you can see why it can be so easy to overeat. And then when you combine this from your metabolism being slower from the dieting, it's a recipe for easy weight gain. And on top of that, it appears at least in rats, which can have a carryover to humans when you gain weight rapidly, which I just explained is so easy to do. When you starve yourself, you may even be able to add new fat cells to your body. And once a fat cell is created, it will never go away. And this only further explains why it gets harder and harder to lose weight each time you yo-yo diet. And the more times you diet, the more aggressively you do it, the worse it gets. And honestly, I think this is why losing weight for the first time is kind of a trap for people, because it will never be easier to lose weight than that first attempt as your metabolism is humming along since you've never dieted. Now that doesn't mean it was easy, but it could have been a lot harder, and you think, hey, I know what to do now. If I gain the weight back, no big deal. I'll just do what I did last time and lose it again. But what happens when you gain weight and then you go back and do the same thing? All of a sudden, now it's not working so well, is it? All this is compounded even more when you do what so many people do and try to lose weight as fast as possible. Typically, the faster the weight loss, the harsher the rebound after, and quick fixes absolutely destroy people. Now, there's several problems with trying to lose weight too fast. One is, to lose weight faster, you have to create a greater calorie deficit, so you have to eat less calories and do more activity to do this. This signals to the body's self-defense mechanism that much more, slows down your metabolism that much faster, and on top of that, you're much more likely to lose more lean body mass instead of mostly body fat, and this only slows down your metabolism even more because the more lean body mass you have, the more calories your body burns at rest. This is why it's always so important to remember that weight loss and fat loss, which is what you really care about, are not one of the same. And keep in mind too, especially in the earlier stages of extreme weight loss, a lot of that weight is simply water weight. So while I understand that fast weight loss in the beginning stages is fun and motivating, once your body starts adapting to this, it makes it so much harder to continue to see weight loss down the road as your maintenance calories plummet and you hit these unavoidable plateaus. And then when you do, since you're already eating really low calories and doing tons of exercise, there's really no room to make more adjustments and you just stay stuck. So you want to lose weight while eating as many calories as possible and doing as little cardio as possible, so you have room to make these adjustments when you need them, and you should aim to lose between about 0.5 to 1% of your body weight on average per week, up to 2% if you're obese, as this is how you help ensure you're going to keep your lean body mass as well as keep your metabolism in a better place and not setting yourself up for failure. I'm just telling you, patience is critical for your success, both because of what happens inside the body, as well as the psychology that comes with the eventual frustration of your perception of slow results. Which, speaking of psychology, this is every bit as important to end the yo-yo dieting cycle. So let's dive into the mental side of things. Now, we already talked about lack of patience, which is a big one, but one of the biggest reasons you likely tend to struggle with yo-yo dieting is because you only look at what to do to lose the weight without any thought about what you're gonna do after to keep the weight off. Usually, this means doing something extreme, and I'm not even just talking about eating really low calories, but more like eliminating all your favorite foods, or even sometimes entire macronutrients. The sustainability of your diet is huge because if you can't sustain your diet, how are you going to sustain your results? This doesn't mean you aren't going to have to do things you don't want to do or that it's going to be easy, but what does happen is you look at foods as either good or bad, and this develops an unhealthy relationship with food. You tell yourself, I can't have anything that I want or enjoy, and what ends up happening is you eventually find yourself in a position where you're gonna have these foods again. When this happens, you feel like I need to eat as much of it as humanly possible right now because my diet starts again tomorrow. So you binge your face off, eat until you feel sick to your stomach, continue to eat even more on top of that. Then you feel guilty, you beat yourself up, which is the worst thing you can do because then it just snowballs even more from there. Please, please remember that food doesn't have morality. You didn't do anything wrong, it's just food. And if you do have a day where you overdo it, that's fine. You're human. Just get back on track and stop judging yourself so harshly. But with all that being said, you're just so much better learning how to include these foods into your diet versus focusing on nothing but exclusion. Otherwise, you fall into the all or nothing mentality, feel like you need to be perfect. And while I'm sure this person probably exists somewhere, I have yet to meet a person in my life who has the all or nothing mentality that's had any long-term success. I like to say you're better off being 80% on most of the time than you are being 100% on less than half the time. Okay, another part of the mental side of things that's an absolute killer is acting based on emotions over logic and habits and rituals. It's just so easy to get in your own head and talk yourself out of what you know is best, and this goes double for when you're in the midst of a diet, your hormones are all out of whack, and you just don't feel like yourself, you're tired, frustrated. I get it. But acting based on your feelings is a surefire way to make sure you stay stuck. This doesn't necessarily mean we can control our feelings, but understand that every feeling you have is triggered by a thought, and most of our thoughts aren't even true, and we'd never feel this way about anybody else in the same circumstance. So always stop and question those thoughts and understand what's real and what's emotion. One of my favorite strategies you can take here, and it may sound a little bit crazy, like, okay, I'm kind of a crazy person for doing this. I'm telling you, it's not, and it's super helpful, and it's talk to yourself out loud. Even in the midst of, say, a binging episode, or you feel like you're gonna start eating your stress or whatever it might be, if you just stop and say out loud, am I eating because I'm hungry or because I'm stressed, emotional, whatever it may be? When you say it out loud, it helps snap you out of it. Anything in your head, that's always emotion. Anything out loud becomes logic and real. But with that said, all I know is one thing I can tell you for sure. If you let your emotions dictate your actions, you're never gonna get there. No matter how good or how bad things are going, stick to the plan. And then if the plan stops working, then you make adjustments, not say, screw it. Remember, if you do this, your metabolism's already tanked here, and you're gonna regain weight super fast. Okay, another reason why it can be so easy to gain weight after is because, you know what? We're just motivated by progress. We as people love to make progress. So even if you do reach your goal, but now you're just trying to maintain it, what's your new goal? It's just stay the same. And what's less motivating than just trying to stay the same? This is all the more reason why you can't just do something just to get the weight off and then be done. It has to be a lifestyle that will last, and it's important to start focusing on other goals you can create during this time, like perhaps performance-based goals. The fact is, it's impossible to see continual improvement to your body composition forever. Now, this is more likely in phases, so to speak, but you can't just lose weight forever. You would literally just die. But even body composition wise, you have to take it in different phases. You can't keep going forward and forward and forward all the time. You have to stop. The body's too adaptive for this, and you have to accept this reality. And if you're going to stop because you stop seeing progress at any point, your chance of success is zero. Trust me, I've seen it time and time again. And it's just, well, why work so hard if I'm not seeing results? Plus, I don't really think people understand what true weight maintenance is. It's not you just get to a certain weight and you stay that exact weight for the rest of your life. It doesn't work that way, at least 1 out of 1,000,000 chance of it working that way. Most people take whatever their lowest weight was of their cut and then make that the new standard moving forward, but your lowest weight is highly unlikely to be sustainable at the end of any cut, especially if you want any balance in your life. So weight maintenance isn't really staying the exact same weight, it's more of sort of a range of weight that you can hold over time. I've had plenty of people talk to me and saying, I'm really struggling here, I'm gaining and losing the same 5 pounds over and over, and I'm just kind of like, well, that's weight maintenance. Great job. But regardless, whenever you're done with the cut, whether you've reached your goal or your body's just fighting you too hard, is make sure you reverse diet out and gradually increase your calories to get your metabolism back up where it should be, because remember, it's suppressed after the dieting, which again is a big reason why people gain weight post-diet, because they don't do this process. They either just go way back up in calories or they completely stop paying attention at all and go back to their old eating habits. By taking your time increasing calories, your body has a much better chance of keeping up with the increases and minimizing the chances of more additional fat gain during the process. This doesn't mean you shouldn't expect any weight gain, but you have to understand the difference between a little bit of weight gain to create more balance and flexibility and feel better, perform better, recover better, sleep better, all that stuff, versus gaining all the weight back. Please don't do what so many people do and get so discouraged because they gain a little bit of weight back and then just say, F it, it wasn't worth it, and gain all the weight back. Like, I've literally had people who say, I lost 150 pounds, and then they gain 10, 20 pounds back, and they think, I've screwed it all up, I'm a big failure, and then they just go right back to what they were doing and gain all that weight back. And it's like, man, what would you have told yourself before you started if you were down 130 pounds? Right? You would have been ecstatic. Do not forget where you came from, and don't put so much pressure on trying to keep weight in a certain spot all the time. You are so much more than that. Your weight is just a number. It's literally the least interesting thing about you. So please, please, please create a healthy relationship with your body image and with the scale. Anyway, there is another reason why I think people struggle with gaining weight back, and that is something that not a lot of people talk about, but I think it's important, and that is they stop weighing themselves, right? Especially if you're struggling and you don't think it's worth the effort and you're kind of giving up, so to speak, you still want to keep weighing yourself. I know that's hard to do, and you would rather turn a blind eye and kind of live in denial, and you'd rather not see that, but what happens is this is how you go a handful of months down the road, and all of a sudden you're up 40 pounds and you don't know how that happened, whereas if you keep an eye on things, as it continues to kind of climb up a little bit more and more and more, you're going to see it. It's going to stop you in your tracks and keep things from getting out of hand. There is research that shows people who weigh themselves more frequently tend to hold a lower body fat level, and I think this is a big part of it. This doesn't mean you create an emotional connection to that number and you place your self-worth on it. It's just for monitoring and understanding. It's just data. Okay. I'm sure you're thinking this is all well and good, but what am I supposed to do if I've been yo-yo dieting for years and my metabolism is trashed and I'm low calorie, I'm doing tons of exercise, I still can't lose weight? What am I supposed to do? Well, the answer here is to use reverse dieting first to put your metabolism back in a better place for success again. To find out how to do this and why you need it, make sure you check out this top video next, and I'll walk you through everything you need to know. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you in that other video.